So no matter what they tell you, Kamala Harris was hired because of her skill and talent. End of story. Okay? Don't question that. Also, a group of white liberal women, the largest in Zoom call history, exposed something so crazy about themselves. All of that and so much more coming up today on The Quisha King Show. What's up, everybody? Thank you for watching another episode of The Quisha King Show. Make sure you go ahead and smack that like button, subscribe to the channel, share this out. That's one way that you can show your support for the channel. Take a look at some of the t-shirts and things that we have down there and show your support that way. But again, thank you so much for watching. Let's get right into it. So you guys know that Kamala Harris has been, touted now as this super skilled, super talented, overly qualified for the position of president, okay? You cannot mention the fact that the left, Joe Biden, and all of them literally said that they were hiring Kamala, that they were picking Kamala to be vice president because she was black and a woman. But gasp, if you say that now, somehow you are racist. You are racist for saying that she was hired. She was a DEI hire. That's what they said. And in fact, they tout diversity, equity, and inclusion as being a good thing. So I don't even understand, why would you want to back away from showing your love and support for diversity, equity, and inclusion? I mean, you guys literally said that we need more diversity, equity, and inclusion. It should be in the public schools. It should be everywhere. We should have it in corporations, schools, government. DEI is a great and wonderful thing. So why all of a sudden Republicans say that she's a DEI pick? That's a bad thing. I mean, make up your mind. Is DEI good or is it bad? Which one are you going to side with? Why can't we say that Kamala is a DEI pick? She is. It's your own word. Unless you really don't believe that DEI is actually a good thing. In fact, I think, and as we will get into it, it's actually exposing their racism. That's my belief. And I have some proof of that. So keep watching and we'll get into that. But why not just stand by what you said? I mean, we literally have Joe Biden on record saying that he picked Kamala Harris because she is black and a woman. Take a look.
I committed that if I'm elected president and have an opportunity to appoint someone to the courts, I'll appoint the first black woman to the courts. It's required that they have representation now. It's long overdue. Secondly, if I'm elected president, my cabinet, my administration will look like the country. And I commit that I will, in fact, I'll pick a woman to be vice president. There are a number of women who are qualified to be president tomorrow. I would pick a woman to be my vice president. Number three, I'm the guy that wrote the domestic violence law, and I'm the guy that put in the prohibitions that no one who abuses someone else should be able to own a gun, period. They should not be able to own a gun. I would get the boyfriend exception amended. Now I've gotten it passed that if you get a stay away order from a court, you have a child with someone, you cannot own a gun. No one should be able to own a gun who has abused a woman, period.
There he is. Those are his own words. And I don't like what's happening on the right either, because the right is now saying, oh, we have to back away from saying that Kamala is a diversity, equity, and inclusion pick. Why do we have to do that? Why can't we tell the truth about what they said? Again, it is their own words. We can call them back to their own words. They should be forced to stand behind what they say. I'm not on this kind of train of where, the left can just say what they want to say, they can do what they want to do, and Republicans or conservatives, we have to just sit back and watch them destroy everything. I'm not on that kind of time. No, you're going to have to defend what you said. The woman is a diversity, equity, and inclusion pick. That's what you said, and we have the right to say what you said about her. We have the right to do that. So I don't want to hear any more Republicans trying to say, you're going to scare off black people from voting for Kamala if you say that if you tell the truth. If you tell the truth, you're going to scare people off. Isn't that something? So now we're supposed to be shamed and mocked for telling the truth. I'm not doing that. So don't comment under my videos, don't tweet me, don't do any of that if I continue to say that Kamala is a diversity, equity, and inclusion pick, because she is. They said it. And letting people know that that's what they said and that they were willing to have a vice president and now a potential president because she is black and a woman is pathetic. They should have to defend what they said. Why wouldn't you want them to defend what they said? Why wouldn't we want the truth to be told? Why wouldn't we want the truth to be told? We should be able to call the left back at what they said, especially when they are not being honest. Do you think that for 1 second, if Republicans were being dishonest, that they would just say, well, you know what? We don't want to offend people by telling them the truth of what Republicans were dishonest, so let's not say anything. No, they would. They would have it on blast. They would have it on blast. Here's the thing, though. Republicans are deathly afraid of being called a racist, which I don't even know why at this point, because it doesn't matter what you do. They're going to call you a racist anyway. So you might as well go ahead and just tell the truth about what they're doing and saying, because you can cure cancer. They even call the Bible racist, okay? Like, you literally can be Jesus and they're gonna call you racist. So if they're gonna call Jesus racist and the Bible racist, you don't have a shot. So you might as well tell the truth. So stop, miss me with all of that. That's what the left said. That's what they meant. They've been touting how much DEI is so great and wonderful. So make them own that. Make them own it. That's all I'm saying. Make them own it. Moving on, let's talk about these liberal white women who supposedly held the largest Zoom call in Zoom call history. Let's take a listen to what they actually admit.
Ariel Fodor, affectionately known as Mrs. Frazzle to her combined audience of over 1.5 million followers, is here to help gentle parent us through this election.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I am so honored to speak today. I am shaking to just be among such incredible company. We are here because, as if you were here earlier, you've heard BIPOC women have tapped us in as white women to step up, listen, and get involved this election season. This is a really important time, and we all need to use our voices and influence for the greater good. No matter who you are all influencers in some way. So tonight, I'm going to share some do's and don'ts for getting involved in politics online and navigating the toxicity that comes with it. And spoiler alert, as much as the toxicity can come from the outside, it can come from us too. So first, don't isolate yourself. We can do our best work when we're in community together like we are tonight, because the toxic feels smaller when we support each other. But don't make it about yourself. As white women, we need to use our privilege to make positive changes. If you find yourself talking over or speaking for BIPOC individuals, or God forbid, correcting them, just take a beat. And instead, we can put our listening ears on. So do learn from and amplify the voices of those who have been historically marginalized, and use the privilege you have in order to push for systemic change. As white people, we have a lot to learn and unlearn. So do check your blind spots. You are responsible for your algorithm, believe it or not.
Okay, first of all, the faces are just completely and totally cringe. Like, she just looks like a crazy person. And she goes on to say that this woman taught kindergarten, okay? Kindergarten. She was literally teaching little kids to believe what she believes, guaranteed. Because you don't get to be radical like that and not push your beliefs on others. Like, she was totally pushing her beliefs on kids. But take a look, just listen to what she said though. She said we have to use our white privilege. I'm just curious, like, who said that you were privileged because you're white? Like, so you're admitting that you're privileged, but then denying that you're racist? Like, you're saying that you're privileged because you're white. That is white supremacy. Like, you're literally saying, I'm a white supremacist, but I'm not racist. So I'm going to cure myself of all of my racism by being an ally. If that is not insulting to you as a black person or a person of color, a BIPOC or whatever if that is not insulting to you as a human being, I don't know how much more somebody can prove to you that they are actually the racist. This woman is actually racist. She believes that she's better than you, that she is supreme. She has she has a superiority over you because of your skin color. I believe that's racism. That's racism. So why in the world are people, particularly black folks, so comfortable with people, white women, liberals in particular, in this situation, just pretending like they can, go on and say these things and have no, why aren't they called a racist for believing these things? They should be called a racist for believing these things because that's actual racism. She literally is espousing the exact same things that the KKK believed. The KKK believed that their skin color made them better. What's the difference? She's saying, I'm white and I have this internal, this automatic superiority because I'm white. That is what she's saying to you. How do you get to say that and not be criticized? I don't understand. Like, that is the definition of racism. She is no different than the KKK. But if you put on a hood and say it, now you're bad. But if you say it without a hood, you're cool? We're supposed to be cool with that? No, I'm not buying it for 1 second. I don't care what you look like. You don't get to say that you are automatically just better, superior, and I am, and my children are inferior because you happen to have less melanin than me. Sorry, not good enough. No, I'm gonna need you to show your work. I'm gonna need you to have some actual skill, some actual talent. You're going to have to prove that you are more qualified, you bring value to the market. You're going to have to prove that you are worth paying attention to. You don't just get to say, oh, well, by virtue of me being born in, lesser melanated skin, I am just automatically better. Bull crap. No, you can say that to some people, but don't ever try that mess with me. That does not fly. Okay, I am not one of those people who think that just because you happen to have lesser melanin levels that you are automatically supreme. That should be it is so infuriating to me. I don't understand how black folks hear this kind of stuff and are not pissed off. Like, how are you not pissed off? If they put on a hood and say it, now you want to riot in the streets. But when they say it and they cringy smile and they're like, oh, we're an ally, and we say it, then it's all good. No, it's not all good for me. It's not all good for me. There is an actual Congress member, Maxwell Frost, who is from Florida, who said that anytime that we even mention things like this. Like if you mention DEI, if you mention that someone is hired or picked because they are black and a woman or anything like this, that's actual racism. Like, do you see how they just flip the script based on nothing? That just saying DEI, he literally says DEI should be equivalent to the N-word. That's what he said. That's what the man said. So if you are a thinking person, then you're just automatically racist. That's what we're going to eventually get to. If you think, then you're racist. If you don't just believe what the left says, you're racist. If you critically think about anything, if you question anything, if you, are a sentient being, basically, now you're just going to be called a racist, and we should we should have nothing to say about that. That's what the left wants you to do. Well, I call BS. That is not how I operate. That is not how most human beings operate. In this game, this whole, anytime you open your mouth and you happen to be a conservative, you're automatically racist. It's getting old and tired. Okay? Nobody wants to hear that. But what we do want to hear is about Prepper Bar. That we want to hear about. Okay? So having gold or silver bars and coins available is great for protecting wealth. But if you need smaller chunks in a pinch, you'll need a pretty solid hacksaw. That's why we're introducing Prepper Bar now, the disruptive new product that allows you to carry wealth in your wallet. Ladies and gentlemen, I do mean in your wallet. We have here, I'm holding in my hand a Prepper Bar. It's like pretty cool. You can literally, it's perforated, so you can like take the little pieces off. You can kind of see it there, but you can take the little pieces off. And these perforated gold or silver bars allow you to easily detach smaller denominations ranging from 1.5 grams up to 7.7 grams. PrepperBarNow.com isn't prepper food. It's prepper wealth protection in these crazy times. Go to PrepperBarNow.com and have these innovative bars sent to your home today to keep in your safe or your wallet. Again, that's PrepperBarNow.com. So we've got to talk about the opening show at the Olympics. The Olympics was held in France this year, and they really went woke, but there was a response. Let's take a look at some of these images. Just utterly disgusting. So the man who is responsible for this says, we were not trying to mock Christians. We weren't trying to, that's what he initially said. We weren't trying to mock the Last Supper, but as you can see, you see the woman in the middle with the holding the heart, with the crown over her head, and you see what is supposed to be the disciples. Okay, we're not stupid. We see exactly what you're doing, okay? We see exactly what you're doing, and we don't like it. So, but Christians did respond, and I am so glad to see this. I am so proud to see that Christians were responding. And what they, one company in particular, C-Spire, they were like, no, we're not having it. And they pulled their advertising from the Olympics to make a stand. And I am so happy to see that. I am so happy to see Christians standing up for what they believe, because, quiet as it's kept, or sometimes not so quiet, Christians can kind of come off as passive and that we don't stand up for what we believe. And sometimes we don't. Look at what is happening in our own country, a Judeo-Christian nation where our values have totally been pushed aside. And because America has pushed them aside, the rest of the world feels that they can push these principles and these values aside as well. But we should be standing up against this kind of stuff, because I never see other faiths get mocked like Christianity. Why you don't try that with the Muslims? Why? Why you don't try that with the Buddhists and the Hindus and all these other kind of people. Why are y'all always trying to come for Christianity? But don't take us being, because we're not pressing you, don't take that as weakness, because I guarantee every knee shall bow and every tongue will confess. And so in my faith, we do have the victory. And so I do not believe that it is okay for people to mock our faith. And I am very happy to see around the world Christians pushing back and saying, no, you don't get to do this. And for the first time, the left, the radicals, are actually apologizing to Christians. I have not, like, this is amazing to me. Like, I have not seen this. Christians were actually apologizing to, the left was actually apologizing to Christians. I am here for it because it is high time that people take a pause before they start just being comfortable with mocking Christians, because it's not okay. What is it? How many? It's like what? 5, I forget exactly the number, but 2 to 5 billion Christians in the world, and you think you can just, get up on a national stage, a global stage like this and just mock Christians? It's not okay. So I am really happy to see Christians finally pushing back, and a global pushback at that. There are Catholic priests that are coming out and saying this. There are Protestant pastors that are coming out against the Olympics opening, and it has forced the people who are behind these kinds of things to apologize. In this opening, not only is there a little girl on the stage where there are drag queens being very sexual and sexually explicit, because it was a blue man who was completely naked, who had on some prosthetic piece or something down there to, it was just inappropriate, especially for a child. So it was one thing that I did, which is just to kind of give you a little insight of how much of a nerd I can be. So I went and looked up, and I don't even know why I had this thought. So I was like, okay, so this is the Last Supper, right? It's supposed to be mimicking the Last Supper. If you go and look at Da Vinci's painting, Judas, the one who betrayed Jesus, is where the little girl is. She has his position in the painting. I don't know. It's just it's just something that I noticed, and I was just curious who was the little girl, but I just found that just kind of weird and just, just interesting that they picked the little girl to be Judas. This whole thing was just totally disrespectful. And again, like I said, I'm happy that Christians are speaking out, because a lot of times we do not, we let a lot of these things go, and they didn't this time. And so we're seeing advertisements being pulled, and we're seeing Christians around the globe speak out. I love to see it. I really do. I truly love to see it. So here's one story that I will not let go of, that I think and know that we need to continue to keep in front of the American public. A former president was, an assassination attempt was, there was an attempt on his life to take his life. And the media just wants to kind of memory hole this. They don't want to talk about it. In fact, Google and Facebook have censored this information. They're trying to, if you start to type in on Google, Trump assassinated or assassination attempt, nothing comes up. Like, it is insane how these left-wing corporations and the media is trying to pretend like this just never happened. Why would they want to do that? They don't want you to read about it and see the updates. Number one, because it is a very inspiring image to see the former President Trump with his fists in the air and the American flag raised over him. It is just such an iconic and historical event that we lived through that inspired a lot of people. So they definitely don't want you to be inspired by the former President Trump. They don't want that. They want you to continue to believe all these things that they say about him. They don't want you to actually take a look for yourself. And they want you to forget about it because the lack of preparation, the lack of just the incompetence that the Secret Service showed, and not getting Trump off of the stage. Just the amount of incompetence is astonishing, that it does make you believe, or at least wonder, was this intentional? Because there's just no level. I can't be a thinking person and believe that this was just by, just a lack of, you cannot be that incompetent. I'm sorry. There's just, in my mind, there's not that much incompetence in the world. Now, I do believe that this is something that was nefarious. And there is a big update to the news of the former president and the assassination attempt. Take a look at this.
If he was doing the job, I wouldn't even be doing this.
There's fucking cops surrounding this whole entire fucking building right now.
In recorded history with the best order.
I don't know what's going on.
So there were law enforcement officers, guns drawn, knowing that Thomas Crooks, there was a man on the roof who had a clear shot to the president, to the former president, and they left Trump on the stage. There was no communication. It has now come out that there was zero communication between the local law enforcement and the Secret Service all day. They did not have communication with the Secret Service until after shots were fired. How are we going to say that this wasn't intentional at this point? Like, how are you that incompetent? I mean, what did they roll out? The B, the C, the D, the E, the F team? Is that who they left in charge? How did you not have any type of briefing with the local law enforcement on that day? How did you not have any communication? Like that, you can't tell me that should not have been in the protocol. Because if there ever was someone that needed to be taken out or someone that they needed to notify, the local law enforcement needed to let Secret Service know that something was going on, you would want, if you were really intent in protecting the president, I would think you would want to have those, have that open line of communication, but there was none. This is astonishing. There was none. Someone needs to go to jail. Maybe some people need to go, a group of people need to go to jail. Maybe a person needs to go to jail, but this cannot go we can't just let this go. Because the Secret Service still protects the current president and Congress members and things like that. So if they are this incompetent with a former president who is the front runner in a presidential election, what does that have to say for the protection of Biden? What does that have to say for the protection of the vice president? I would think, if I was on the left, or just as an American, I would want all of their lives protected equally. And if they can't if the Secret Service can't protect Trump, then maybe we should start questioning who, if they can offer, if they are skilled to offer protection for anyone. And see, that's why we need people who are skilled. That's why we can't hire DEI because you fit some identity group. We have to actually know that you are capable of doing your job. That's why the DEI stuff is nonsense. Okay? This is a perfect example where the former former director of the Secret Service said, well, we were going to get 30% women. Okay, well, then you might end up with 30% capabilities of protection. Okay, just I'm just saying. So do you guys know who Mr. Beast is? My audience, you guys probably know who Mr. Beast is. Some of you might not. But Mr. Beast has the largest YouTube channel basically like in the world. He has like over, I think, 150 million YouTube subscribers. He's worth like, $700 million, almost $1 billion. I mean, the guy is huge in the YouTube space. And he recently is under fire. People are starting to pay even more attention to him because he hired this guy who transitioned to a woman. And it has now come out that this person has been, according to reports, pushing, how do I say this? He has been telling minors, yes, to post explicit images. And this is the person who has been doing this. So he's a grown man who is now saying that he's a woman. And there is evidence that he was proposing to kids to push to send explicit images. And at first the young kid was like, no, it's not true. Like, that didn't happen. But it's now coming out that that is exactly what was happening. So Mr. Beast did give a response. He says, over the last few days, I've become aware of the serious allegations of Ava Tyson's behavior online, and I am disgusted and opposed to such unacceptable acts. During that time, I have been focused on hiring an independent third party to conduct a thorough investigation to ensure I have all the facts. That said, I've seen enough online and taken immediate action to remove Ava from the company, my channel, and any association with Mr. Beast. I do not condone or support any of the inappropriate actions. I will allow the independent investigators the necessary time to conduct a comprehensive investigation and will take any further actions based on their findings. I'm curious why he wants why not just call the police? If you have this information, why not call the police? I don't understand that. But nevertheless, an investigation is going to happen, which I think is good, and hopefully there were no children that were severely harmed. And, I pray for their families that they do get the help that they will need when an adult tries to do disgusting things to children. This trans thing and the LGBTQ and their weird obsession with children is disturbing. A lot of conservatives and Republicans, whatever, we have been saying this is a problem. Now, this stuff started in schools, if you remember. We were saying teaching kids about, transitioning and not telling their parents, that is not a good thing. And because this has been normalized, you are starting to see the fallout of when we continue to push these hypersexual, these unscientific ideas on children and young people. This man, Ava, who is a biological man, is trying to get children to send him explicit sexual content. We've seen this over and over and over again. We see the pride parades where they have children at the parades, men with their genitals exposed. They have, fake penises and vagina. I mean, it is just utterly, it's just decadent and disgusting. And children are all around this. And many on the left will tell you that you are just being homophobic. You're a bigot if you say, you know what, I don't think the kids should be involved in your kinky stuff. They're saying that, don't protect kids, just let them see it. Let them be exposed to all of this wickedness. It's no big deal. Kids are able to make these decisions on if they want to participate in these things or not. Just let the kids, let these confused adults who think that they are one gender or another, let them have free reign of what they do with our young people. And, I hope that this story, because Mr. Beast is such a big influencer, because he has so many followers, I hope that this shows the other side of what conservatives have been screaming for a long time, that this LGBTQ stuff being pushed on kids is not good. I hope it exposes what the real agenda is. Because I don't know if you guys remember, but they made that song like, we're coming for your children. And they said, oh, it's just for fun. We were just joking and kidding along. We don't really mean that. But the more we see them, the more investigations we see, the more, the more all these things start to come out. Now, I am not saying that every single transgender person likes little children. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that you're going to have, because you have given credibility to these types of things, so much so that it is in schools, it is already being before children, it is already being pushed on children, you're going to have sick people who hang on to this kind of stuff, or some are doing it specifically so they can go after little kids, and some do have obviously a mental something going on in their minds where they might be attracted to little children. And so, yes, I'm sorry, this is just reality. The more you try to make this trans stuff and all this LGBTQ stuff normal, you're going to see more problems with it. And this is what we have been saying for a long time. So I pray that the exposing of this Ava person and Mr. Beast being as big of an influencer as he is, that it can cause culture to shift, that it can cause, American society to be like, you know what, I'm not so sure about this stuff anymore. I don't really know if we should really be pushing this stuff on kids. I really hope that it jars some people out of this leftist trance. Y'all know I say that they are a cult. That's what the left is. It's a cult. I hope it starts to, take remove the prongs, the nails that have been dug in. Hopefully it starts to open up people's eyes that they can see that this stuff is not good, and it's not something that we should be offering to children. It's just not. And culturally, because the more we culturally reject it, the more normalcy will return. And speaking of influencing culture, we want to make sure that we infect culture at all levels, whether it be fashion, whether it be cosmetics, whether it be through wealth building, whatever industry that you are in, we should have an impact in culture for those of us who are on the right, so we can support companies that are aligned with our values. And that is why I'm going to be telling you about Red Beach Nation. Red Beach Nation provides conservative apparel and beachwear for freedom-loving Americans. Whether you live at the beach, are traveling to one, or just want to imagine yourself there, Red Beach's comfy, patriotic apparel is sure to lift your spirits. Founded by a former counterterrorism officer and a war veteran of both the Afghanistan and Iraq wars, Red Beach Nation is committed to upholding the American values and principles that we all hold so dear. And the best part, the merchandise isn't going to get you in a fight or shout it down as you go about your day. Red Beach Nation is just pure Americana, not shirts that are designed to spark outrage. So come live in the sand, surf and freedom lifestyle with us. Head on over to redbeachnation.com and use promo code KING, K-I-N-G, to save 10% off of your order. Again, that's redbeachnation.com and use promo code KING to save 10%. As we wrap this up here, Netanyahu, who is the Prime Minister of Israel, came to visit Congress, and notably Kamala Harris, the DEI hire, the DEI pick, she wasn't there. Well, who was there, though, was definitely a problem. So there were all of these Palestinian protesters, actually, who were at the Capitol destroying monuments, and they did the unthinkable. They took down an American flag, they raised a Palestinian flag, and they burned the United States flag. Take a look.
I can go capture a sense of what's happening in Palestine that, you know, I don't know what I'm going to hear, but I know that it could only be important and productive for the world to have a bit of footage from there.
Did you see the videos they posted of what they did on October 7th?
Everything.
And you're okay with all that?
With everything they did.
They killed innocent Israelis. They killed... Yes, they did.
You know, while everybody claims there's an apartheid where Israelis don't let Palestinians in, many Palestinians come into Israel all the time through the border and through the checkpoints. They just have to be checked. Whereas Israelis are literally not allowed into Palestine. They're not allowed into the West Bank.
You want to live with the Israelis in peace? Or?
No, I want one state solution. No Israel.
So no more Israel?
Yes.
Israel wiped off the map?
Palestine فقط.
We should delete Israel. So you would not be okay with a two-state solution?
Of course not.
Things got very contentious very quick once we hit the streets.
So as you can see, these people have no regard for America. They took down our flag, burned it, and raised another country's flag. Like, this stuff cannot stand. It cannot stand. If we do not, we cannot have these people who are pro-Palestine. They're pro-terrorist. They like to say pro-Palestine, but Hamas is a terrorist group that Palestinians, quiet as it's kept, they actually support. They are the ones that put these people in charge. So for all of you, Candace Owens included, for all of you who want to pretend and act like these Palestinians are just, they're just innocent people. No, they're not. And I'm not saying that that means every single Palestinian. I'm not saying that. But they put these people in charge of their own government. So you just have to face reality that this is who they are and this is what they believe. That's where we are. So guys, if you like this content, go ahead, smack that like button, subscribe, and share this video out to all your friends, all your family, and just everyone, because this is the kind of thing that we need to get more into society. So if you want to support, please share this out, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time on The Quisha King Show. Bye-bye.
Mike Lindell here, and like you, I see our country being destroyed daily. We face massive economic issues, and I can tell you from firsthand experience, there are people in power who threaten the values that have made our country great. Well, I've been a believer in gold and silver for a long time, and I've searched for years for a partner that shares my values. Well, Genesis Gold Group showed me how easy it is to protect your IRA, 401k, or your retirement with gold and silver. Their faith-driven approach to service and stewardship is one that stands out from the rest.
To get your free definitive gold guide and get started learning more about investing in gold and protecting your retirement from uncertain times, visit treasureandtrust.com now. Fill out the basic contact form and a member of the team will be in touch. Again, that's treasureandtrust.com or call 855-625-7760.